A great, ancient dragon, Gransax once rained calamity upon the royal capital. This marked the dawn of the war against dragons.
Have you ever really looked at Gransax? I mean, like, really. Because I did. And while I was looking at him, I realized there's something weird about him. No, there's something weird about this whole scenery. And after my research, I came to the conclusion that he's not dead. Hi, I'm Banune, and you're welcome to join me on my journey discovering the mysteries of Elden Ring. The lore is very complicated, so I'll recommend to take my hand, subscribe and like the video as I get through it. Before becoming an Elden Lord myself, my brain was mainly occupied by Zelda and the mysteries surrounding it. But with the latest Zelda DLC, game, Nintendo gave us barely any mysteries to think about. So, when I booted up Elden Ring, I felt like my need for mysteries was finally satisfied. Because, I don't know if you have noticed, but the world of the Lands Between hides many, and I mean many, mysteries. What's that? What's that? What's this? Oh my god, what's that? The only problem is, the game won't tell you much, or anything about those mysteries. You have to figure out what's going on by reading item descriptions, or looking at certain things and where you find them, and then you have to piece it all together. Somehow. And there's this one mystery that really stood out to me. The one of the ancient dragons, or more one special ancient dragon. If you remember your first steps beyond the walls of Leyndell, you surely remember the stunning view of the dragon I'm talking about. This one. This beautiful and majestic creature is Gransax. I love him. When I looked around, I saw this guy praising someone with this beautiful flute. They must be praising Gransax, so I decided to join them. And after adoring Gransax for a while, I knew, in order to find out what really happened here, I had to move on. And not much is known about him besides the fact that he attacked Leyndell and caused a war against the dragons with it. There are only 3 items that claim that, but all of them are associated with the Golden Order on Marika. Marika? Anyways, one item seems to be special and can still be found towering over the streets of Leyndell. The Bolt of Gransax. Which I don't believe is his, but we'll get there in a second. I investigated this bolt with my buddy here, but he seems to be just as confused as I am. Because the position it is in, compared to Gransax, seems so off. It is fairly assumed by the community that this dragon is dead, as his body is still in Leyndell, after the rampage against the dragons, where almost all the dragons were killed. But I do not believe that. I tried to figure out what happened to him, and as one does, I climbed his wing. I looked at him. I praised him. And then I had the gut feeling that something isn't right here. And I had the feeling that he is still alive. Kyle, why are you typing already? Can I please explain my theory first before you start commenting? Thank you. Okay, hear me out. Gransax is not the first ancient dragon we get to see in this game. So, this is what a living dragon looks like. Okay? Okay. And this is what a dead dragon looks like. But this is what Gransax looks like. You can spot the difference, right? Okay, let me explain. A few months ago, before even playing the game, I watched Moxie's and others' Elden Ring videos on YouTube and saw Gransax for the first time. They all referenced him as dead multiple times.
Leyndell, another ancient dragon corpse that rivals the enormity of
his bolt, the weapon he has next to his corpse. We don't really see any other dragons using.
The great Gransax was slain, their stone body and weapon
that dragon
becoming this.
Okay, I hear enough. And this did not sit right with me. So I asked the Elden Lord Moxie what she knows about that dragon. But she just said,
It is kind of mysterious. I guess you just have to play the game.
And when I did, I not only enjoyed every single second of playing it, I also had the chance to investigate the fate of Gransax myself. And believe me, I did. I inspected every inch of that dragon and realized he has more in common with a living dragon than a dead one. His teeth are still yellow, his tongue and gum are still purple, his head is still raised and not flopped down, and so on. But the most important detail would probably be that he is not crumbling. Yes, his wing is broken off, but look, the broken off parts of the dead dragons have this specific texture, but Gransax does not have this texture in his broken parts. Think about it. I also heard people blaming him for wanting to attack the tree, but I realized he is neither looking at the tree nor the city. He is looking at something different. You can take this with a grain of salt, because what I'm about to say is mostly speculative and not really set in game, but you still may enjoy what I have to say. I mean, this guy did. He wanted to clap, but yeah, you okay, buddy? Anyways, so this is what I came up with. While looking at the Dragon Communion Church and comparing Gransax to that at Dragon, I started thinking about those dragon statues with their hats chopped off. These do not look like they broke off with time. This looks intentional. So I started thinking that someone tried to cover up history here. And while researching for Moxie's Roman video, link in bio, I found out that this was a practice that was used by the Romans back then, where they defaced statues of prior emperors to erase them from history. Huh. And we know Miyazaki likes to use real-life history as an inspiration. So it is not too far off to believe that those who are in charge now have covered up the truth of the ones who were in charge back then. Like, those guys. They were also on a religious war against everyone who wasn't on their side. And this was also commanded by their leader. So, what if Gransax did not attack Leyndell, but... Kyle, I said stop it. I'm still not done. Let me finish my sentence. I need to show the world that my precious baby is innocent. Thank you. So, what if Gransax did not attack Leyndell, but got betrayed while protecting it? The position he's in is rather off for a dying creature. He looks like he's still clutching something in his hand, but it's empty. And then the bolt. It's in front of him, but the position seems also off. You see, his hand is here, and his body is facing or falling in the direction he's looking at. So why is the bolt coming from left to right? Then I remember that I've seen Gransax's dragon type before. One that was still alive. Lanciex. And I remember her using a spear too, and she does that in a pose that is similar to Gransax's right now. So I went back to check. Hi, pretty lady. I realized that her spear looks totally different to Gransax's bolt. And the one from Fortisax doesn't match either. And looking at the ancient dragons and their spears, I realized that all of them have this type of spear, which none matches the one in Leyndell. But do you know who wields a weapon that does look like this one? Placidusax. They are identical. And who is Placidusax? He was said to be Elden Lord before the era of the Erdtree. But then why is Godfrey called the first? While looking at Leyndell, I tried to find an answer and came up with a very interesting theory. What if Placidusax was indeed the very first Elden Lord, but got overthrown by Marika and Godfrey. We know from Godfrey that
a crown is warranted with strength.
So in other words, you have to be strong to become Elden Lord. It is also recommended to be stronger than the one you want to overthrow, to make sure you win. You don't own what you can't defeat in the lands between. So Godfrey and Marika needed to kill Placidusax. But how do you kill such a powerful dragon? With some help. And Godfrey is no stranger to fighting and befriending powerful beasts. We know that he once fought Siraj and won. And Siraj, being impressed by his strength, befriended him. Wouldn't it be possible that Godfrey fought Gransax at one point prior to his assault, and they became friends because Godfrey was stronger than him, just like what Godwyn did with Fortisax? And due to Gransax's size and power, he was a perfect backup plan. And with him on their side, they lured Placidusax close to Leyndell to kill him. There are multiple options as to why Placidusax would come to or close to Leyndell. We know that Marika and Godfrey first got rid of the giants, so they could make sure that in the worst case, the Earth Tree, which at this point was still a sapling, would be safe. One possibility would be that Placidusax came to the mountaintops to check what was going on. He was the ruler of the lands between after all, and no one has the right to wipe out another species without his permission. Another possibility is that Godfrey even invited Placidusax to help him kill the giants, as they were also attacking the ice dragons. Either way, after the giants were killed, and with them the ability to harm the Earth Tree sap, Godfrey attacked Placidusax from behind. He... Ow! 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 I said stop it! First Moxie's video, now mine. No, enough is enough. Stop it. As I said, Placidusax was attacked from behind and started raging. I mean, who wouldn't? And attacked Godfrey, who quickly ran to Leyndell. There he told Gransax, "Dude, look! Placidusax is raging, attacking me and the city for no reason. Help!" And Gransax, trusting his friend, defended Godfrey and Leyndell by attacking back. But as Gransax is much bigger and had Godfrey and the army of Leyndell on their side, Placidusax had no chance, and in an attempt to win this fight, he quickly created his bolt, slammed it into the building close to Gransax, and he was ready to charge his big nuke. Gransax probably tried to stop that, as it would destroy Leyndell completely. It's even possible that in this fight Placidusax lost his head, and while he was startled by pain, he realized he had no chance. So he used his most powerful move against Gransax. He stopped the time. And Placidusax is no stranger to time mechanics. We see him living inside the storm beyond time, and he reverses time for us when we want to enter the boss fight arena. And his dragon incantation calls him the Dragonlord that once dwelled eternal beyond time. But as Gransax was so big and powerful, and Placidusax badly wounded, he was only able to stop the time for Gransax, but not Leyndell and or Godfrey. But he was still under attack from Godfrey, so he chose to flee the battle, enshrined himself in the storm beyond time, and lost the title of Elden Lord with it. But Gransax, unable to move, was still in Leyndell, as was Placidusax's bolt, that he was never able to fully charge. And as Gransax was not dead, just frozen, his body never turned into stone, and he never got brittle. Because of it, and his enormous size, Marika's allies were unable to remove him from the side. To get rid of the evidence, they were only able to break off one wing. But the process was probably hard enough, so they stopped. So his body remained in Leyndell. But the royal family does not want the people to know that Gransax killed the Elden Lord, and not them. So what did they do? They told the people that Gransax tried to attack the capital and the Erdtree for no reason. But the great Godfrey managed to kill this giant dragon and quickly spread the word of the dragons are the bad guys. We must kill them. That's when the War of the Ancient Dragons began. They roamed the lands between and erased all evidence of a dragon cult. Gransax was betrayed by his friend. He was blamed for something he never did. And with Marika erasing all evidence of a dragon ruler, Godfrey became the new first Elden Lord. Even though he wasn't. But we know how manipulative Marika can be. So, when Godwyn was born, Gransax's body was still decorating the walls of Leyndell, and little Godwyn, curious what that is, went up to his father and asked,
Daddy, what is that and why is it here?
And Godfrey explained to him,
That, my child, was Gransax, a dragon. He attacked us, but I managed to kill him. Remember, my son, dragons are evil.
And little Godwyn believed in his father and grew up with a grudge against the dragons. As he got older, he went on to fight and kill the dragons. Until he met Fortisax. They also fought. And just like his father experienced it with Gransax, Fortisax was impressed by Godwyn's strength and befriended him. This friendship grew to be special, but that's not the point. Fortisax, now trusting Godwyn, told him what really happened to Gransax, how his father betrayed him and tried to kill Placidusax. Godwyn was shocked and went to Gransax to remove his ox, so that if he ever gets free someday, he can see the truth, to not be fooled by Marika and Godfrey. He created the dragon community to make the people believe in dragons again. But this did not sit right with Marika, so she made a plan to get rid of her son, not unlike she did with Morgan Morgan. That's when she told the Black Knives where Marika is, so they could claim the Rune of Death to kill Godwyn. But as Ronnie managed to break the rune by killing herself at the same time the assassins took care of Godwyn, Marika's plan did not work. Godwyn did not die, so she turned to her last option. She shattered the Elden Ring, not because of grief, but because she hoped that the demigods would turn on each other and one of them would eventually kill Godwyn. And from here on, you know the story. I guess. So, in conclusion, Marika is evil and Gransax is perfect. Jokes aside. As I stated, Gransax's head is still raised, his teeth are yellow, and most importantly, Gransax is not crumbling. Miyazaki tells the stories in a more visual way, which is why I think there's a reason why the dragon cult and communion church are found in the early game region. The ancient dragons were meant to be seen early into the story to encourage understanding, and when we were familiar with the dead ones, he showed us Gransax, a living ancient dragon. And only when we were familiar with the difference between a living and a dead one, we were shown Gransax to uncover what really happened. Maybe this is Miyazaki's way of telling us Gransax's untold story. And keep in mind all the times that it's actually kind of mentioned that Marika is used to lying. We also never got told the true reason of Godwyn's death and Marika's connection to it. So Godfrey using Gransax to get the Elven throne from Placidusax and Marika using her godhood to change the history from dragons yay to dragons nay is a theory that is worth talking about. And let's not forget about the other not moving but apparently still living body underneath Leyndell. Godwyn's soul died, but his body is still alive. Yet, unlike the other undead creatures we encounter, he is also not moving. And during the edit, I realized that it could be possible that we will encounter the souls of Gransax and Godwyn in the DLC. Mikola is also there despite his body still being in the lands between, and also not moving. Mostly. And we know Marika has a connection to the Shadow Realm, so it is possible that she sealed their souls away so they would even be less of a harm than they are now in their unmoving state. Thank you all for listening to my theory/fanfiction. I've been hyperfixating on this dragon for a while now and trying to justify, well, my baby is absolutely perfect every way. I mean, look at him. I love him so much. And thank you, Moxie, for helping me in the research. I hope you all liked my theory about Gransax. I really believe he's innocent. And if you do so too, give this video a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe, just stay tuned when I upload again. The Elden Ring DLC is just around the corner, so videos about it are probably coming soon. I guess. If there are still some confusions left about the dragons, then I highly recommend checking out other amazing creators like Moxie, Motown and more, as most of them have covered the history of the dragons in more detail. I'll link some of their channels in the description, so make sure to pay them a visit and see if you can find some details I've missed about my baby, Gransax. I hope I'll see you in the next one. Bye everybody!